Hey guys, and welcome back to News to Astonish, where we discuss comics, movies, games, and more. And right now, we're in the middle of E3. By the way, does anybody even watch that anymore? I've been hearing nothing but negative things about E3 since it started back on like the 12th or the 13th or so, and it's been nothing but, a huge mess. It was boring from what I hear. I've only seen clips of it here and there, but this one certainly caught my eye because it is Guardians of the Galaxy, and we do discuss comic book related stuff like movies and shows and comics from time to time. But Guardians of the Galaxy, the game, is being developed by Square Enix. You know, the guys who made this abomination. That's right, they're the same people that made the Avengers. Now, the Avengers was a total failure. It had nothing but low sales and low amounts of people playing the game. There wasn't enough people playing online. Even though there's patches, releases, and like new characters being added on, like Black Panther or Spider-Man, so to speak. We don't know when we're getting Spider-Man. The game still isn't really faring too well. Overall, I want to discuss Guardians of the Galaxy and just give you my thoughts about what I've seen so far and what I think this game looks like, if it looks really good or not. The Guardians of the Galaxy game looks a little bit okay to me. The graphics are not exactly that impressive. This is going to be a cross-gen game. This game will be available for the PS4, PS5, Xbox Series S and X, and PC. The graphics are a little bit iffy for me. I'm not exactly too impressed with this trailer. They did show off some gameplay as well. And another thing that really caught my eye as well is that this is going to be a single-player game. There's no multiplayer. It's going to be a third-person based game, and you're only going to be playing as Star-Lord. Now, for me, I guess that the decision to go with being able to play as Star-Lord only was an okay decision. I guess Square Enix has learned their lesson from like the Avengers, but I'm only going to remain cautiously optimistic because I feel like I've dished out $60 and just wasted it when I bought the Avengers because I did not enjoy that game whatsoever. The opening act of the Avengers is probably the strongest out of the whole film. But aside from that, it is kind of a bummer that you can only play as Star-Lord, where I was actually hoping that you can actually play as all characters in their own campaign. I prefer it that way, not to have like those beat 'em up, shoot 'em up kind of games. And I fear that this game might be following kind of like the same tropes as the Avengers, where you're fighting in like a quick beat 'em up, bash 'em and shoot 'em up kind of thing. So you go to a place, you fight a bunch of like enemies, like a horde of enemies, and then you're done, and then you go to another place, and then you fight another horde of enemies, and then you're done. I feel like this is going to be kind of like a repeat process, and I don't know if Square Enix has really learned their lesson here. I don't know. I'm still going to remain cautiously optimistic. It is a Marvel property, so obviously I'm going to be kind of excited, and I actually do want to get this game and stream it only because of the fact that it is a single-player game. And I'm a huge fan of single-player games. I'm not the biggest fan of multiplayer games. Single-player games are kind of my thing. Nothing wrong with that. And single-player based games are really successful. I mean, take a look at Spider-Man, God of War, and more. I mean, those games were single players, and they were successful games in their own right. I'm sort of cautiously optimistic about this. I'm definitely going to be buying this game and live streaming it for you guys to watch. Another thing I want to talk about is kind of like the aesthetics and just the looks overall of the characters. Now, Peter Quill specifically, he looks like some dude that you would see at a T-Mobile, AT&T, Verizon store, specifically some Latino dude. His hairstyle is like rubbing me off the wrong way. I don't know. I just feel like I want to slap him. But you can tell that a lot of the aesthetics is loosely based off of the Chris Pratt character of Star-Lord in the James Gunn films, Guardians of the Galaxy. Now, this game is really taking inspiration of the James Gunn's films because one, the music that you hear is by Bonnie Tyler. I Need a Hero. It kind of is reminiscent. You can tell that they borrowed that element from James Gunn because one of the things that he does is just put classic nostalgia music, kind of just to give the film a good vibe. And I think that's what Square Enix is doing, kind of relying on music to kind of give this game kind of a good vibe. And if you notice in the playthrough, if you've seen it already, I'm not going to play any of the audio because I just don't want to get hit with copyright. But there is like a takedown where you actually get to play a song during that takedown. It's like you get a power boost or something. It's an interesting concept. Overall, the game is a decent looking game. Again, the graphics could be a little bit better. Hopefully they're improved upon if you buy the PS5 or Xbox Series X version. Aside from that, I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt that since this was a live stream, A lot of the gameplay came across as kind of like janky. The frame rates were a tad bit choppy if you look really closely, but I'm still gonna give it the benefit of the doubt that, oh, it's just a live stream. That's probably why it looks kind of like, you know, a little weird and jumpy and choppy from time to time. And aside from that, I'm overall cautiously optimistic, and I know I've said that before already, but this is a Marvel property, and I will be live streaming this when it comes out sometime, I guess later this year or early next year, whenever it's gonna come out. I'm just hoping that I don't waste $70 and get a really messed up game, you know, because honestly, I did not enjoy the Avengers, and the Avengers is a really well-known property, and I'm just hoping that they do it really well. They do this, you know, IP justice, because by now Guardians of the Galaxy is a well-known IP. I guess a team-based superhero squad, only single player, it's just a little weird to me. Honestly, I think they should give you the option to play of any of the 5 people in the roster of the Guardians of the Galaxy, and you beat the game. Maybe perhaps you gain access to certain parts of each level or stage or whatever, depending on the character that you are. I mean, that's just my idea, but it looks like you're just gonna strictly play Star-Lord, which is a bit of a bummer. I actually would love to play as Rocket, Drax, Groot, and Gamora, and so on and so forth, and because they have different abilities, and perhaps you might be comfortable playing with one character besides Star-Lord. You know, maybe you'd be more comfortable with Rocket, where he would be more of like a gear nut, you know, with all the guns and weapons and everything. Maybe you'd be more comfortable with Gamora because she likes to use blades and she's an assassin and she's like the most dangerous woman in the cosmos. Maybe you prefer Drax because he's a brute and he just likes to, you know, slash and dash and just punch everything. Or perhaps Groot, he has super abilities, you know, and so forth. You can get really creative, honestly. Playing as Star-Lord in a team-based superhero team, like, it's just sort of a bummer. And again, I can't preface this enough. The game just looks okay. It doesn't look impressive, and it's not really anything that I've never seen before, if I'm being very honest. But we will have to wait and see, since this is all subject to change, because what we're seeing here is not the beta footage. This is just alpha, I guess you can say. Some things can change once we get the final product out there. So I'm going to go ahead and read a bit of the synopsis here, and then I'll conclude it from there. And you guys let me know, what are your thoughts once I'm done here. So the first look at the Square Enix Guardians of the Galaxy video game. The universe's favorite bunch of a-holes will soon arrive at a playable console near you. Today at E3, everyone got the first look at Square Enix's Guardians of the Galaxy video game, a third-person action-adventure game. The title lets the player control Peter Quill, aka Star-Lord. The other Guardians may be somewhat less controllable, but reacting to their unpredictable choices becomes part of the fun. And Quill's never alone. The game seems more influenced by the movies than the comics, and like I was actually mentioning that, yes, there's a huge influence on the movies and then the comics. Because in the comics, the characters are different. Peter Quill's different. He's had several different costumes, different looks, but it's nothing like the Peter Quill that we've gotten in the comics. You know, it's an entirely different Peter Quill. Because honestly, let's be honest, Guardians of the Galaxy was not really a well-known team in an average household. You know, you go there and ask anybody what their favorite superhero is or who they know, they may tell you Batman, Superman, Spider-Man. But I'm sorry for going off topic there. I do tend to go on tangents. Let me continue on. So particularly seen in its version of Mantis, but comics fans will notice other things as well. So let's take a look at the trailer, which is what you're looking at right now. It's actually the gameplay trailer footage. Square Enix has also released behind the scenes look at the game, hinting at plot and characters. Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy is coming out October 26, 2021, and on PS5, PS4, Xbox Series X and S, and PC. So the official synopsis doesn't add much, but here it is. Fire up Star-Lord's jet boots for a wild ride across the cosmos in this third-person action-adventure game, the fresh take on the Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy. With the unpredictable Guardians at your side, blast your way from one explosive situation to another with original and iconic Marvel characters caught in a struggle for the fate of the universe. You got this, probably. Now that's the tagline that you saw at the end of the trailer, just to add a little bit of comedic effect. Honestly, I watched the trailer, did not even actually laugh at all. I'm not trying to sound like a hater, but kind of like, you know, some of the jokes or insults or the way the characters are teasing each other just came across as like, you know, like I'm definitely gonna pass on that. Like the humor is just not there for me, in my honest opinion. So the pre-order, the download content includes classic comic-based skins for the Guardians, and that's actually shown there. You can actually get the classic comic book based skins where the Guardians actually first appear in comic books, like the way you see here on the screen. for those who prefer their Gamora caped and their rocket in a suit. So does this early look at the game impress you? You let me know down in the comment section below, guys. Obviously, I don't think it really impresses me much, but I am gonna buy it nonetheless and still play it for you guys. Overall, what's really caught my attention the most is the fact that this is a single player based game. I wish it was more team based, but not exactly where you get to control all the characters all at once. Kind of like how what the Avengers did, where you get to pick your leader and pick any character you want before you go off to take off on a mission, but rather to have, I guess, individual campaigns where you can play the game multiple times with each and every single character, and perhaps get a slightly different story, because, you know, this is a team after all, but maybe, you know, one character can wander off a little bit and do a side mission or something, while the other characters in the team do their own missions as well, and then you get back together and continue on with the game. Overall, it's going to be the same game, but, you know, you're going to have different kinds of missions. And of course, you're going to be able to explore all the characters' different abilities and stuff like that. So anyways, those are my thoughts about this trailer for Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy. In my opinion, just to keep it short, I guess, this game looks just okay. And I really hope it does impress me once the final product is released. Anyways, that's enough for tonight, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and click on bell notifications so you don't miss anything. Post videos on a daily, and I do live streams about twice a week. Join my Discord. Invitation link to that is down in the description box below. And with all that being said, guys, thank you all so much for watching again, and I will see you all in the next comic panel.